Hi guys, we have made it to episode 43. We're still on Fulgora and still in the FACTORIO SPACEAGE series. What shenanigans are we going to get up to today? Well, I'm hoping it's going to be everything needed for the Electromagnetic Science Pack, so we can finally get that. So that means we need to work on these three components, I think. So I think we're pretty set up to do that with some factories in this section of the base. We will need those, what do you call them? The electromagnetic plants. But I've got 10 of them. Hopefully that's enough. But before we actually get down to laying down some new factories, let me just update you real quick on a couple of things that have changed. You might notice the big one is that we now have a much healthier main bus system. And that is because I've added in a whole other tileable version of our recycling plant that we have over here as the main. It's now over here to the left in its own separate logistic bot coverage network. So I've noticed that with basically doing this again, but basically having the resources go straight into the main bus instead of getting divvied up into the mall, that has helped to supplement my materials a little bit. And then there are definitely some materials I just don't need. I just have too much of. So I've got some extra filters out here so that we're not getting things like ice or stone or iron ore and things like that. And that makes it so that they just basically get recycled down till eventually they're nothing. Or at least I think that's how it's working. So far, I haven't run into like too many cloggage issues. My max resource right now is 2.6 thousand iron plate, which in my mind is a good thing to have. So we've got a healthy supply of iron plate coming in, feeds onto these lines along with the steel, gear wheels, copper, green circuits, and solid fuel. So main bus over here, much healthier, so I think that will be able to sustain the materials I'm going to need for the science stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. I think we're going to plop down those electromagnetic plants, starting with probably the electrolyte, and then we'll work our way up to the superconductors, and then those are needed for the supercapacitors. And then I think we'll have basically everything we need for the electromagnetic science packs themselves. Then we can figure out what we do with those science packs. So electrolytes, that requires stone, which I have here on the main bus. Also requires heavy oil and holmium solution. I have both of those things available down there somewhere. We'll just bring them up. So let's see if I can fit it maybe between these pipes since I've got a decent amount of room. So we'll need stone. And then I don't know how many I want to do for the electrolyte solution, but maybe we can fit a couple just in here. Let's just put down a little placeholder. So let's put in the recipe. Okay, now I'm remembering from the little planet that we've got tons of inputs and outputs for fluids, so a lot of potential for fluid contamination. Copy that there. Okay, so I'm thinking it'll be best to share the like electrolyte output. So I'm going to keep those together. Maybe we can put a tank in the middle. Do I have any tanks on me? I think tanks are getting built in the main mall area. I could be wrong. Looks like I'm wrong. Okay, so let's delete that. We'll craft one by hand instead. Okay, tank right here. So let's connect that up there. Okay, so that is the output solved. Let's change that. So we have the holmium solution on the same side and the heavy oil on the same side. So let's just bring over the fluids. We've got light oil there, lubricant, but haven't brought over the heavy or holmium solution upwards yet. So I think I'll just continue bringing it adjacent to the other pipelines. So for the holmium solution, let's just branch it off from here and go up. And then I'm going to try to do the heavy oil at the same time. This one will have a couple more wiggles in it. Oh, and that doesn't fit. We'll have to move that over like that. Okay. There we go. Might be beneficial to have a pump in here somewhere. I'll worry about that later. Let me just bring this over a touch. Okay, Let's try that. Oh, whoops. There we go. And let's see if we can just kind of keep it in line with the other pipes for the most part. So this one is the holmium solution. We'll bring that up first. Stop there. The heavy oil. There we go. So now it's fully in line. We can just add that in, and then now we can copy and basically paste. Let's do that. That. That won't reach. So we'll end there. And stop there for now. Okay, so holmium solution we'll have to bring over and down. Ooh. This may not work, actually. Well, it could if I, like, bring this over tile, maybe. And let's see, does this require? It does require stone. Okay, so we'll have a stone line, basically, I think, feed from either top to bottom or something like that for these guys. This now can come over like that. There we go. And like that. Let me move that pole, and then we'll add in the electricity in just a second here. Let's plan how the stone is going to get bridged off. We'll just do it like that. I won't bother, like, well, actually, let's see. I was going to say I won't bother splitting off specifically the stone, but we might as well, just so we're not wasting resources. So stone ore coming through there. We'll change it to the other side like that. Okay. This can go down a tile, over like this, and over like that. Inserter there, there, power pole, there, and there. Okay, almost done. The only thing we're missing is the heavy oil. This one should be a little bit easier. We can just pull over like this. Normal pipe there. Normal pipe there. Cool, both are up and running. I do have some modules on me. I do think it's beneficial to start putting modules in things where I can. Since I'm not super poor anymore. Whoa, that takes a ton of modules. That took 5. Okay, well, hopefully that module stuff in there will help pay for itself eventually. But there is the electrolyte taken care of. So next thing we can do are going to be the superconductors. So this will take holmium plate, plastic bars, copper plate, and light oil. Light oil we already have right nearby. Let's just plop down probably just above these pipes now. And let's think, how many do we want to do? Let's actually be smart about this. So this takes a 5-second crafting time. So let's see if we can do maybe without any modules or beacons or anything, although this does produce 2 at a time. Let's aim for 5, and then that way we're doing more than 1 a second. And we'll see if we can fit that. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it doesn't fit. Oh my gosh. That is okay. We would still technically get, I think, more than 1 per second with just 4 of these based off of the output ratio and crafting time. And, ooh, crap, you can see energy just took a big, massive dump, despite the fact that I have a lot of accumulators. Okay. Well, we might have to expand on that. In fact, should I just do that right now? Might as well. Okay, let's just copy this and do right there. I think bots will get to that eventually. No, let's put it a roboport as far down without connecting up to that coverage up there. Okay, you can see bots are doing their thing, filling in the accumulators. That will hopefully help. And looking at this, we might be beginning to run into a scrap problem because these are running low. I also had some backup scrap that was feeding the secondary recycling area, even that's beginning to run low in a couple spots. I may have to tap into a couple different scrap areas, or maybe even another island if we want to keep up production. But we'll worry about that problem later. That's going to be another episode issue to work on. And then, what were we doing? Oh yeah, I was taking a look at the big electric dump. But in the meantime, let's put in the recipe up here. We will need light oil. Okay. Let's head on back up. I hate that I can't fit in a 5th thing. We're so close. I would love to fit 5 electromagnetic plants here, but I'm guessing I wouldn't be able to do that anyway because of how the pipes are configured for the light oil inputs here. They're kind of like off by a tile or two. Although I suppose I could just change that this way and just have inputs of the light oil coming from both sides, but that seems a little wasteful when all I have to do is just connect these plants up together. Let me think about that. What are we also missing? Copper plate, plastic, and holmium. And what are the ratios? I think it's all just 1 to 1 to 1. Yeah. Okay. So let's keep it how it was, where these will be connected. We're going to move this over a tile. And then 4 is just going to be the max that I can fit. Put in the recipe. Pipes like that. And then I can hook it in, let's see, right there. Perfect. For the plastic and copper inputs, let's put that right here. Will I be able to get that? And there's no way I can move that rubber port. Well, we'll change the light oil input after all. So it goes there. Let's instead move this upwards. We'll do like this. Add in some lightning safety there. And then we'll just have the input for the light oil come in from this direction instead. Not my first choice, but better than not being able to access this belt line for an inserter there. Okay, so that solves that. We can get rid of that now. Whoops, get rid of that extra pipe. There we go. So this will be the plastic and copper line. Let's figure out how we are going to divvy that from the main bus. Let's start with copper. Although now that I'm thinking about it, it seems like it would make better sense to join up the plastic and the holmium, since those might be easier to merge together from this angle. So let's put copper instead up here. Like that. So that means we need a splitter from this area. Okay. Let's try that. We'll underground the green circuits the rest of the way up, like so. There we are. Let's do inputs on the same sides like that. And the only thing we need now, plastic and holmium plate, and then the output lines. So plastic, let's join up, and we'll need to get it separate from the low density structures. So let's just do another splitter actually like that. Now we can split off plastic specifically like that. Change the output side. There we go. Underground right, actually right there. There we go. Okay, and then how do I want this to join it up with the holmium plate? Because now I have this pipe in the way. And now I need to kind of go down a little bit. Okay. This is not as clean as I was hoping for. But let's see if we can just do an underground belt like that, maybe. That won't work. We'll need to move this down. Now that should work. Okay, there we go. Let's clean up the rest of the lines over here on the main side. That and that, that and that. There we go. And last belt. Perfect. Output line we will put just up here like that. And then we might as well have these go onto the main bus. I suppose we can just have these go on with the accumulator line or even the holmium plate line. In fact, let's just have it join up with the holmium plate. So let's maybe, let's see. Let's just merge this a little bit. Like that. Okay. I think that should work. We could fix up the lines now. Oh, shoot, that won't work. This has to go like that. Ugh, the pipe's in the way. Crap. Okay. Let's move this pipe like that. Make this the most wiggly pipe there's ever been. Fix that. Fix that. Okay. There we go. Now fix up that stuff. Oh, fix in that belt. And last thing to do, add in the long-headed inserters. There we are. And add in the power. And we should see this turn on. Perfect. Before I even forget, let's put in some more modules. Whew. Expensive modules, but I think it's going to be worth it. There we go. It's joining up with the line correctly. It's all going according to plan. And that means we just have the one more thing to automate, which is going to be the science packs themselves. So it's taken, how many episodes now on this planet? Maybe like 10? No, 13. I think we started around episode 30 now, actually. So seems like we're long overdue to get this done. But let's do it. Okay. So that will also need to be built in the electromagnetic plants as well, I believe. Let's also plan for 4 of them. We'll just keep it in same configuration as this, basically, if we can. So the science packs themselves will take accumulators, the supercapacitors. Oh, I haven't made that yet, have I? Okay, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. We just did the superconductors, so supercapacitors are these things. Okay, we'll just do another 4, and then we'll do another 4 for the science packs themselves. So we are going to need the holmium plate and the new superconductors that we just made. And I can never keep track of which one's the supercapacitor and superconductor. So let's just branch that off straight away from, let's see, can we do it from here? Looks like we have to add even more accumulators down the line for some more power. And to save room, let's just join it up like that. Oh, I guess there's no point in that. Cut that. We'll do like that. There we go. So this becomes the supercapacitors. And let's just, actually, nah, we won't worry about copying the recipe of the superconductors down there. But we will copy the same configuration, basically. So let's copy that now. Copy the pipage like that. So now we need the electrolyte solution, which I think I can just pull from, let's see, I'd love to pull it upwards, but I don't know that I have the room for it. But I can, whoops, have this go over to the right somewhere. So let's do, ooh, actually can I? Or am I going to get some fluid mixing issues? Ooh, I can barely do it. Let's do like that. Oh boy, that barely worked. Okay, so that will plug in. Now we have the electrolyte. We've got the Holmium plate, we have the superconductors, and then we'll join up batteries and green circuits onto this line. And just like with the superconductors, we'll do the output like that. This time I'm thinking we'll have it join up with the accumulators. And then I will have like everything we need either on the main bus or close to it for the science packs. Let's put in some inserters real quick here. Let's do inputs as well for this stuff. Add in more lightning safety stuff like that. Outputs like so. And then this becomes green circuits batteries. So green circuits will join up from this angle like that. Batteries, I'm joining up at like weird angles. Okay. Batteries will have dropped down and then meet up with green circuits in just a second here. Let's do underground if it can fit. Can it fit? Not quite. So we'll do a blue underground like that. Underground there. Last belt to join them. Underground belt. There we go. Add in the power. Voila. We have the super capacitors getting made in bulk. Add in more modules. Looks like I'm running out of modules. Let's not forget, we'll have to come back and add more. Join these up with the accumulators too. Can I basically just do like we had down here? I'm not sure if I have the room. Yeah, let's see. Let's try this now. There we go. Underground that. Move that down a tile. Perfect. That's now also on the main bus. We can get rid of this superfluous tile right there for the belts. Okay, last thing we need. The science packs, which take everything we already have. So let's just do that real quick. And in fact, let's just copy the configuration, but just change the recipes this next time. Oh, okay, cool. I thought that was be an issue with building there, but it's not. Okay, so requires different recipe. Copy the recipes. Ooh, we're about to get our first science packs on this planet. And our first new science packs since starting the series. Input like this and that. Definitely going to need more power. And then we just, oh shoot, but this fluid configuration is not going to work. So we're going to have to do probably like this instead. Bummer. Okay. Let's change that. Darn it. Okay, so we need the holmium solution on one side, the electrolyte on the other. I think we'll need the electrolyte to come down from like a little bit further up. So let's do something like this. Added more lightning protection yet again, like that. Okay. This will become output, maybe? Like that. I'm trying to think of where, you know, all the pipes will go. I'll just keep the inserter on the right like this. And then I will just bring down the pipes from above. Fill in the last bit of pipage. There we go. Need more lightning safety over here now. Like that. Okay, so we've got the outputs. We have part of the inputs. We may have to move this up a tile if I can't squeeze in the remaining holmium solution pipes, but I'm hoping we can. Like, with this plant here, I'm worried we won't have room for the other inserter. But let's do something like this. Where is our nearest holmium solution? From here. Okay. So close. We're almost there. Got that. Not sure why I have that there. Will this work if I branch it off like that? Probably not. Let's see if we can move this over a tile. Except then it won't be splitting off at the right mark. Ugh, bummer. Okay, what I could do... Let's have this back how it was. Whoops, that's not how it was. And then let's move this thingy. Guess we're moving it. I guess I can move the orientation of the accumulators so it's on the other side, perhaps? Should I just go down all the way at the bottom for that? That honestly seems like the easiest thing to do. Okay, let's move this box to the other side. So it's now like that. Does that work? No, okay. This needs to come down a tile. There we go. I'm going to suck up a bunch of the accumulators. And we'll just kind of re-put those in the box. Not a big deal. Suck that up. And then I'll suck it up at the end as well in just a second here. But that way it'll make joining up the things a little bit more easy. So now we can just, in theory, split it off like this. Have it join up just straight on like that. And now that's perfect. I know that's still on the wrong side of the belt, but we'll fix that here in just a second. So let's finally get the last things we need for the science to start, which in this case is basically more accumulators, because it looks like I am out. So let's go check out why accumulators have slowed down, apart from the fact that I have all of them like in my pocket. We'll just put them all in there. Accumulators. Maybe it's just a power issue. Although I certainly could add more into the system. We can just move this down a tile or so. In fact, let's do that. We'll move this now, and then we'll just have output go straight like that and then to the left. And then we can add however many else can fit, I guess just one. Although if we move these down, we can do more than that. So let's grab all that, move it down as far as it can go. Now I can fit in only one more, but that's okay. Better than nothing. Fix that. Oh, it looks like I'm running low on batteries. That's the problem. Batteries go in this box. Okay, well, at least I've identified what the problem is for the accumulators. I could always basically use the battery outputs from the secondary recycling plant onto a line just like I did up here and feed that into the main bus. Or we could build batteries, which would require getting sulfuric acid, which might be a little bit of a pain, but definitely doable. But at least the main objective is done. We've got our first Electromagnetic Science Packs made. So we're going to call it an episode there. We got all of the components needed, all 4 of them for the science packs, the electrolyte, the superconductors, the supercapacitors, and then the science pack itself. So I feel like we made good progress. Off camera, I'm just going to fix the kink with the battery situation. And then that even means by next time, hopefully we can start figuring out how to launch the science packs into space, and then maybe even consider getting off of the planet and going somewhere else. So hope you guys will join me for that. I'll see you next time.